This week on Edmunds Live, I'm joined by Jessica Caldwell, Josh Jaco, Ron Montoya, and Mark Takahashi. And this week, SEMA is going on in Las Vegas. So if you're in the market for a giant set of wheels, this is the week for you. Josh, what's it like covering and going to SEMA?
I did the SEMA show 16 consecutive years. I did the math just before we sat down.
Oh, street
and the SEMA show is a lot like an extension of Vegas. There's a lot of people, and you're not getting anywhere in a hurry. And there's a lot of glitz and glamour, and did I say you're not getting anywhere in a hurry? Actually, I've kind of made peace with the SEMA show. Obviously, there's a lot to see there. There's 100,000 people in 4 or 5 gigantic halls. But after 16 years, I feel like I don't need to go back. I'm not sorry I'm missing it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, what's it like going there? What are you seeing? What can people, if they do go, what are they looking for?
It's a little sampling of every piece of automotive aftermarket. Actually, it's a gigantic sampling.
Now, obviously, if you do go about adding a bunch of aftermarket products to your car, you go nuts at SEMA. What can you expect to happen when you go to sell your Camaro?
Well, if your car is relatively new, it's going to void the warranty on any repairs that may have broken down as a result of the modifications. It's obviously going to drop down the resale value. Not everyone wants a car that's been modified that way, or one person's idea of good mods may not be someone else's. So it's not a good financial situation if you're looking to get that money back.
Mark, would you buy a car that's been modified?
No, never. I mean, first of all, the people that modify their cars to the nth degree, they basically ruin everything about the car. The manufacturers know more about how to build a car than some yahoo who just got a parts catalog. They ruin the ride with big wheels. They slam it down to the ground so that they're bottoming out on box dots. The exhaust sounds flatulent. There's so many things wrong with all of that.
And now a car that probably will not be modified anytime soon is the all-new Nissan Rogue. It's bigger inside, it's more refined, and it looks more like a shrunken Pathfinder now instead of a shrunken Murano. It has a third-row seat, which is sort of unique for this class. The RAV4 no longer has that.
The Nissan needs a hit in a large volume segment because the Altima does fairly well. It's a majority of Nissan sales. The Sentra has been somewhat underperforming, has never gotten back to its heyday, doesn't compete with the Civic or Corolla in terms of volume. So I think with the Rogue there is that opportunity to do so, especially as the segment grows. So it is important, and it's good to see that they've put some money and some resources into the product as it looks pretty good, as you had said.
It is definitely bigger inside. It has the same cargo capacity, or roughly the same cargo capacity as a CR-V RAV4.
And they like that, the ride height. This is really popular with women. So maybe perhaps that was the catalyst of the third row, but it seems like the segment has gone away from that third row seating.
Let's go to our social media minute. Let's bring in Claire.
Hey guys, so got some great questions on social this week. The first one came in on YouTube from PostPet04. Which car would you get? BMW M5, Mercedes E63, or the new Maserati Gilby?
Josh?
E63. I want nothing to do with the V6 powered Ghibli.
Mark?
M5 rear-wheel drive. And the Mercedes steering has kind of gotten weird lately, so I'd go against that.
Ron?
I'm going to be practical. I'm going to say the M5 because it comes with free maintenance. I'm going to need it because it's pretty expensive in those cars.
Funny you say that because my 5 Series is currently in the shop, but since I'm a glutton for punishment, I'll just one more time BMW F5.
Nice. And I'm with you. The E63 steering kind of went downhill.
But you can't do power slides in it. Well, you could, but...
Okay.
Are you really doing power slides in those cars? Come on. You haven't done a power slide in your whole life.
Thrown down.
Oh, bring it.
We now interrupt this show to go down to the garage so that Mark can demonstrate that. Okay. Claire, what else do you have for us?
Another great one came in on Facebook from James Devante. The Detroit Auto Show or Chicago 2014. Never been to either. Went to the New York Auto Show in 2012 and it was fantastic, but looking to top that. Any suggestions?
Okay. Jessica, what do you think?
Well, I think if you're into cars, definitely the Detroit show is the North American International Auto Show. You're going to see the most introductions, have the most access, and that's probably the one to go if you're going to pick one, if you're into cars.
See, I disagree. I would go with Chicago because it's after Detroit. Almost everything that's at Detroit is in Chicago, and it's a giant show. It has way more floor space, way more cars available there. It's whether you're a car enthusiast or a car shopper, it's the one to go to, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a good point, though.
Thanks, Claire. Well, Jessica, you had an interesting story this week about the Tesla Model S. Apparently, it's very popular amongst West Coast rich people.
Yeah, so every year Forbes puts out this list about the most expensive zip codes, and inevitably it makes us all feel really poor because the houses are like $6 million in these zip codes. So a lot of them were in Silicon Valley, and I thought that was interesting because the Tesla, as we all know, is, you know, kind of the darling of those folks up there. So I was curious of these really expensive zip codes, what type of sales would the Tesla have? And the results were pretty shocking. Looking at the top 25 most expensive zip codes in the country, the Tesla Model S has been the most popular car in 8 of them this year. So clearly rich people like these cars, and I think that speaks well also with the Model X, the SUV, because usually wealthy people own more than one car. That's going to come out, you know, perhaps next year or the year after, depending on the timing there.
Which is interesting because I noticed that, they were all like California and New York, and most of the New York ones were the Mercedes GL.
Yes,
and
or
the Jeep Grand
Grand
Cherokee. So maybe...
There was some people saying that it was because of the potholes. I don't know, but maybe perhaps we'll do that next time, look into why that is.
All right, let's get to our lightning round. So there is a new Cannonball Run record. A guy drove from New York to Los Angeles in a Mercedes CL55 AMG. He did it in 28 hours. And 50 minutes. That works out to an average of 98 miles per hour over the course of 2,800 miles. So, if you were going to do the Cannonball Run, what car would you take?
A DeLorean with a flux capacitor. No, Panamera, probably. Diesel, spare gas things. I mean, their setup on that CL was insane. 2 giant fuel cells and scanners and iPads and iPods and crap everywhere. I mean, they were wired in. They knew exactly where the cops were, and they probably had a blocker way up ahead too. So that's the way to do it.
Ron?
I'm going to go Passat TDI because I think it was just a complete waste of gas to put it in a Mercedes CLA, or CL. So I'm going to go with Passat TDI, go with fuel economy, and try to get the best fuel economy over the course of that trip.
Josh?
I think that's really the key to the whole thing. It has less to do with the car you pick than with the preparation and the strategy. Those guys were toting around, 60 or 80 gallons of fuel. They had an 800-mile range. I don't think you could pick any number of American or German sedans that would do that with the right fuel equipment in them. So the thing these guys haven't thought of yet is doing this on a holiday when nobody's on the road. And if they do it, say, on Christmas or a holiday in the warmer months, maybe would be even better. I think that's the real key to getting that time even lower if they're going to be crazy enough to go after it.
Jessica?
I'm not breaking any speed records, so I'm going to pick the Lexus LS because it has a smooth ride, and for 29 hours, I don't want to get a UTI.
Oh.
Yeah,
29 hours not moving. Come on.
You did mention that they had, Depends?
Depends, yeah. That's soupy.
Isn't...
Not something I want to do.
No, I don't really want to do that either. All right, that's all we have for Edmunds Live this week. Thanks, guys.